Welcome to the Gritcast, where we get into the nitty-gritty of all things hockey. From the East to the West Coast. Here are your hosts, Matt Pierce, Nikosh Ganguly, and Darius Dominguez.
All right, folks, welcome back to episode 5 of the Gritcast. I'm back joined by my fellow co-host, Mr. Mondays and Mr. Darius. Been a pretty. I don't think we've recorded in almost 2 weeks now, just the way the timings have been. And I moved into a new place, as you guys can see, the background's a little bit different. And then, obviously it's different because I've used a virtual background in every other episode. So,
if you watch the other podcasts, you've moved to every podcast then. So
that's true. That's true. But,
you do raise a good point there.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm in a new place, so I'm gonna apologize for the quality. I don't have my normal PC set up, all that shit, but.
Tell them what you're on, Nick. Tell them what you're on right now.
So I got my laptop on a storage bin because I don't have a desk yet. So my computer is in the bin that the laptop is on. So that's cool. And if you can hear the fan from my laptop, it's because this MacBook is from 2011. So
So it sounds like a airplane
or a PS4. All right. So a little bit of news. We've had the technical test, which is over now. Honestly, didn't play as much of that as I wanted to, but I didn't want to play that much, if you know what I mean. We'll get into that. But let's cover some extensions that happened over the past week. So first, JT Miller got a massive extension in Vancouver. Massive. I didn't think it was actually. Didn't he have a 100-point season almost last year? I saw it was close to
99. I do believe it was 99.
Yeah. I know he feasts on the power play a lot, but $8 million, 7 years. I know there was some questions about him being traded. Darius, what did you think of the signing?
It's a good signing for Vancouver. They still have a relatively young team. I think they need to be in go for it mode now or soon, because they're not that young, but they're still pretty young, right? They should be in win now mode, I think. Some of their guys are the same ages as Toronto's core and whatnot. There was some talk of trading him, obviously, last year and at the trade deadline, because obviously his contract was up. But I like it for Vancouver. He's a good player, and you should aim to keep good players. And he's not making. He's a 100-point player. Well, he's not, but you know what I mean. And $8 million is gets you who just signed for $8 million, a Kadri caliber type player, right? So
yeah.
It's a good signing. It's a good signing for Vancouver. You should keep your players.
That's fair.
Nothing really to add on. There's a bit of a pause there. Vancouver, a full season with Bruce Boudreau should do them wonders. I think they'll be a playoff team this year. Probably third in the Pacific, if we're being quite generous here. I think they'll make it over Vegas. So it's a bit of a hot take. But yeah, as like Darius said, if you have good players, yeah. If you have good players, then keep them.
Yeah, I was a bit skeptical just because I think he's old for a hockey player. I think he's 29, 30 now, maybe a little bit younger.
Well, the contract's gonna suck at the end, but most do.
Yeah, I was gonna say all contracts basically suck. When you get into the nitty gritty of them. But yeah, cool signing. I think Vancouver fans are pretty I don't know, at least they got to keep someone. There was a lot of openness for them at the draft. Apparently he was almost an Islander. Apparently almost everyone's an Islander, and then Lou doesn't do anything. But so yeah,
everyone is almost an Islander, but I feel that's not the case for Lou. You know what I mean? He's just not talking to anyone, and everyone's they might be one of the Islanders, but he's not doing anything.
They re-signed Matt Martin for 5 years or something. All right, switching gears. Not really though. Tim Stützle signed his massive extension with Ottawa. I think a year out, right, before he was in RFA. Yep. So a lot of people were skeptical about this contract. I don't know why. He produced well. Again, a lot on the power play. It feels like every time a big contract is signed, a lot of the points come off the power play. But he's really young. He's good. Ottawa's core is locked up. I think they got Batherson. They got Brady Tkachuk. They got Stützle now. Josh Norris they just signed. And DeBrincat's an RFA and Giroux they got for 3 years. So, yeah. Did you guys have any problems with this signing or anything like that?
No, it was a good signing. It was probably Stützle took it for the long-term stability instead of doing a bridge deal because you never know with injuries and all that. But that's with any player, right? So
I think it's good for both parties too. And I know I said that for the last contract too, but it's true. I mean, Ottawa has a hard time keeping players. They got a guy locked up for, into his mid-20s who's projected to be a really good player. Stützle gets $8 million, even if he regresses, which it doesn't look like that. I mean, I think he's going to be a pretty good player. And yeah, I mean, he makes good money and Ottawa gets to keep a guy. And I mean, who knows, in a few years, or if they even waited a year, he could be looking at a higher dollar amount, right? So I think it's a fair deal and actually pretty good for the Senators considering the core that they have now.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on what the contract would be if he put up like just a tremendous season with DeBrincat and Drew on his wing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the 50-50, right? Do it now and get it over with. But if it's not as good of a year, then he gets a lower dollar amount. So he's playing the long game here with the long term 8 years at 8.35 mil.
Nick, what do you think?
I feel like ever since this is no disrespect to Eugene Melnick, but I feel like once he like Pierre Dorion has been a lot more freely. I don't know if that's been obvious. I feel like because now he's like signed Giroux.
Oh, it's obvious.
He threw the massive extension at Norris, traded a bunch of stuff for the DeBrincat, massive extension at Stützle. Like he made I think he made the Cam Talbot trade.
Yep.
He's been slowly improving them. I think the defense is a little bit scary. I'm more high on Jake Sanderson than I was when he was drafted. I wasn't the biggest fan of when he was drafted, but a lot of what I read on him says he's going to be a solid NHL player. Aside from like Shabbat and Zoot, though, they don't really have anybody. And DJ Smith does not like Eric Brandstrom, so I don't think that's going to last very long.
Which is like, come on.
Yeah, but DJ Smith doesn't like puck-moving defensemen, but Shabbat is too obvious, right?
Yeah, but then maybe it's DJ Smith's time to leave? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Apparently he's like a player's coach. The players really like him, so.
Yeah, but how far does that get you sometimes too, right? Like, it all depends.
Maybe they'll win around. Maybe they'll win around, so that'd be cool.
Well, that's more than a team I cheer for, so.
Yeah, so.
At least one Ontario team would win around, so.
Well, they do. I mean, the Senators went to the third round like 2017, so like.
And they've they've done a whole rebuild since then, which is
and came out pretty good. Like I think they're going to be really good this year. So
I don't see them as a playoff team just because I don't believe in their defense at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to score a lot, but they're also going to let up a lot of goals, which is like what a young rebuilding team does, right? Before they become more sure of themselves.
Plus, the division is really good too, right? So like I think Detroit's going to take a huge step too. So it's hard. Like they might not make the playoffs, but it doesn't mean they're going to be a really shitty team like they have been, right?
No, they'll be. Sens fans will have a really fun team to watch.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of new additions, right? Like watching DeBrincat and Giroux is already enough to turn them on, right? So it's
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be good. Moving over to another Canadian team who signed one of their acquisitions. Kirby Dack signed his for a 4-year extension, was kind of surprising to me considering his injury history. He hasn't really been able to show a lot in the NHL level yet. It's crazy to think that he was one of the better players in the bubble against Edmonton, which is kind of weird. But that feels like so long ago now.
Do you guys like remember that? Because I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, that doesn't even exist. You know what I mean?
I'm sure Matt does.
Well,
unfortunately,
I remember the Columbus series very well, but like the rest of it, like it's just weird to me now. I don't know if that's like a universal thing, but
with Doc, sorry Nick, with Doc, it feels like he became a different player after his wrist injury in the pre-tournament game at the World Juniors, and then afterwards he was kind of, I don't know, shy, I guess, because in Chicago, I think he played with DeBrincat and Kane, and couldn't really get anything going. Which, mind you, the rest of that Hawks team, not very good, right? But with those two players, you should at least do something.
Yeah, but the morale there, I don't know. I feel like it's hard to...
Yeah, it's hard to judge with the Hawks.
Exactly, yeah. I think he's better than he has shown, although I don't know if he's as good as he would have been before the injuries. So you're right in that way.
There's
probably not. Nobody is.
Yeah. There's also the St. Louis effect, too, right?
Exactly,
Because he reinvigorated Cole Caulfield who knows if he might do the same with Doc, right?
Yeah, it'd be pretty dope. Honestly, it's a low risk signing for.
It is too. It's a low dollar amount.
3.6. I feel like that feels like a lot when we say it, but Sean Monahan just got traded to the Habs, and he makes a little bit less than that. So I don't mind that. It's cool for them. They needed. I feel like they needed more centers aside from Suzuki. They also traded Ryan Poehling, I think, to Pittsburgh. So in the Petrie trade. So that's another guy that they didn't have up the middle. Although ever since he scored that hat trick against the Leafs in the last game that 1 year, he hasn't really done much at the NHL level, which is kind of weird.
That was his first game too.
Yeah, right. That was interesting. I just think the Habs are doing a lot of good small moves. Like I can't really be mad at anything they've been doing lately. They're improving little by little. Getting a guy like Monahan who could be good for a first is cool. They got Doc, who is promising, a former third overall pick, and they just locked him up for 4 years. 4 years isn't too long. 3.6 in that. Like someone will take that some way, you know. So I think it's a good signing for them overall.
I think if you look at the Habs before we move on, the team that made the final, like I don't think they weren't a very good team, and you don't even need a brain to know that. Like they weren't built right, but they kind of made the final on the backs of like Carey Price
and Weber.
Price and Weber, and then they're gone now because of the toll it took on them. But what they've done in not even 2 years to retool for this year and how they've set up the team moving into future years and especially next year, I think it's really good. Like they haven't even rebuilt. They just had one really bad year last year, and now they'll make some noise. I think this year. It doesn't mean they'll be good or even touch the playoffs, but they'll make some noise.
Yeah, I think the vision is good for them. You know, they're not one of those rebuilding teams where there's nothing. Like they already had stuff to move and to trade, and now you know they re-sign, they extend Dak. Price is out, so obviously you want Carey Price to play. That's a lot of cap room right there. But yeah, I think it's good for them.
That's the other thing. They have a lot of cap room.
Yeah,
like they've done well for themselves. So in the next few years, they should be pretty good.
Yeah, so speaking of goalies, Jake Ottinger, one of the best playoff series ever, and he still lost. Signs. What was it? 3 years. 3 years, $4 million.
Yeah.
3 years, $4 million.
I thought it was the opposite. Sorry.
3 years, $4 million per with the Dallas Stars, and I think that is an amazing contract. I don't know
it's
about
fantastic. It's fantastic, and it's still. I think he took that deal. He could have made a lot more, but he wanted to see Robertson get re-signed, so that's why I think he took not a huge pay cut, but just a big enough pay cut so that way they could fit Robertson under the cap.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a really good signing. I mean, he should be making more based on that playoff series alone. And, I mean, the rest of the year, too. Like, he's a good goalie, and you can see that. He's young. But, you know, it would have been stupid for Dallas to move him. Like, it's good that they signed him, and for that dollar amount, that now they have all this free space to re-sign Robertson, too, who is another fantastic player. I think it's a no-brainer. It's just, like, we knew it was going to come. We just didn't know what dollar amount, how many years. And the fact that they got him signed to, what is it, $4 million over 3 years, that's good. It's really good.
Yeah, big fan of that. There's a lot of goalie stuff happening in Dallas over the past recent years. Like you had Ben Bishop who like tried to come back, but he couldn't play anymore. You had Anton Khudobin who just like after that Stanley Cup Finals run like was very, very bad. Then you brought in Brady Holtby from Vancouver, who was actually pretty solid for them, gave them good starts. Now it looks like he might retire because of injuries. Mm-hmm. And now you get blessed with like Jake Ottinger, who was kind of sitting in the minors for a long time because of the logjam. So it's good to see that, they've solidified that internally. It's not easy to do that. I feel like in net, especially, you don't always have goalies ready to go. Not everyone's Boston. All of a sudden, there's 7 goalies that are just ready to play. Or like Philly when Carter Hart first came into the league. So it's nice to have a goalie internally ready to go. A lot of teams don't have that luxury, like I said. And Ottinger, kind of a bridge deal, but like Matt said, they got to re-sign Jason Robertson, who's easily, their best forward and arguably the best player ahead of Heiskanen. So, yeah, great sign. I'm very good for Dallas. Just Dallas is very boring, so I don't really, they're just
Dallas. They're like the anti-Philadelphia. Like since the '90s, they've had consistent goaltending. Belfort, Turco, For a bit, they had Kari Lettinen, and now to have Ottinger. While the Flyers, they after Hextall, nothing. And
Michael
then Carter
Layton.
Hart came. Gotta close that 5-hole late. But after Hextall, it was nothing until Carter Hart, and even then, Carter Hart, might bounce back, might not. We'll see.
Still high on him. He's pretty young. But yeah. We'll talk about the Robertson signing when that inevitably happens. But until then, there's a couple of depth signings made by some more Canadian teams. Canadian teams have been very active, it feels like, in the past week or so. Sam Gagner, who I genuinely thought was going to come to Toronto just because he played for the Marlies. And
He owns the Marlies.
Yeah, he basically has... No, isn't that like the junior Marlies team?
Sorry, yeah. So he played for the Toronto Marlies, but he owns the Toronto Marlboros, the junior hockey team.
Yeah.
With John Tavares, they're co-owners.
Yeah, they're like best friends. And and he played for the Marlies, and he's from here. So I was like, oh, he'll just sign. I mean, I wouldn't mind him as a depth forward because the least depth was lacking. But unfortunately, he goes to Winnipeg. Bad for him. I feel bad for him there, but I guess that was the only offer. But yeah, nothing really to say. Cool. Sam Gagner. Every time I look at his age, I always feel like he's 37 or 38, but he's like way younger than that.
What is he, like 32 or something?
Yeah, he's not even that old.
Which is crazy. I feel like he's been in the league for 50 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I feel like I was a kid watching him. It's weird. It's really weird.
Didn't you have like...
You were.
I mean, well, not a kid, not a child, but...
Didn't he have like the 6-point night or something? Was that him?
Oh, 8-point night against Chicago.
Yeah.
I remember watching that on like YouTube, and I was like, "Wow,
this guy's
gonna be a superstar." Awesome, yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Edmonton, they made I really like this signing. They gave Ryan Murray 1 year, I think, league min deal. Perfect for them. I'm a decent fan of Ryan Murray. I think if he wasn't injured all the time, he'd be a solid top 4 defenseman, maybe the number 4 defenseman. But I like it for Edmonton. I think that's good. If he doesn't work out, minors or waivers. So it's cool for them.
Yeah, it's a nice insurance signing. That's all I have to say, because there's a bit of a logjam with the defensive core of the Oilers. So just in case if somebody goes down, Murray will step up. And like you said, if not, just send him to Bakersfield or put him on waivers.
Yeah, and if he stays healthy, he's a good option too. And he's like the dollar amount again, like league min. And he's a good player, but again, if he stays healthy, but it's just a depth signing. Like it's a good thing for the Oilers, and I think they're just looking ahead to the playoffs. They expect to be deep again, right? So it's a good signing for them.
Hondo. Linus Ullmark was also not Linus Ullmark. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Who was Linus Ullmark? I feel like didn't he play
Linus
for Oilers?
Ullmark? Yeah, Oilers. Yeah, he's the shootout specialist.
Yeah, he did the spinorama, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I also was thinking like Linus Ullmark. Like
Ullmark. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same name.
So fuck you guys. But yeah, he resigned to Buffalo. I don't really care to whatever. Good for them. Last thing I want to talk about is I don't know. I thought this was funny. I think Arizona said they expect to sell out every game, and I'm like, good for you, because you should be selling out every game in your 5,000 capacity arena near a college. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what to think about that. It's like, we expect. No, that's the funny thing. They said they expect to sell out every game, not like, we will sell out every game. Like, it's 5,000. It's an NHL game. It's gonna draw. It's on a campus.
It's on a
People
campus.
People are gonna come.
They're.
It's expensive though. It's expensive. Like college kids can't really afford those tickets.
No, but it's not just college
snowbirds.
kids that are coming too. Right?
Like you have the Canadian snowbirds that live down in Arizona, 10 months out of the year.
No,
if they're going to go to a game.
It's not exclusive to the college. Like,
no, I know.
Come watch, right? But like,
no, I know.
I know that's not what you're saying, but I think that's like what people are thinking. Like, it's expensive for college kids. It's like, well, that's not the only people who are going to go.
I feel like their demographic should have been. They should have targeted everything towards the college kids. But then they would have been making no money. But they already
no money. If they had a bigger arena, then they could do that, I think. But
the thing is, they already make no money. You know what I mean? Like, a league pays for them every goddamn year anyway. So I don't think
the league owned them at one point. Like, it's embarrassing that it's actually embarrassing that it got to this point. And the fact that we're here, like, I think it could be fun. They can make it a fun thing, but it makes the NHL look cheap, man.
Like, if they have a marching band in the stands, that would be awesome. The whole college experience.
Yeah, they gotta make it fun. They have to make. They're in a shitty situation, so the team itself has to make good out of the shitty situation. But on the outside looking in, like, this is embarrassing.
You know how you make that situation better?
How?
Relocation.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going back to Winnipeg. 2 teams in Winnipeg, baby.
Both called the Jets. Both called the Jets.
Yes, exactly. But one is
The
the
Rough
old
Riders
logo.
situation.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Yeah.
and they both, who are the numbers that are going to the Winnipeg Jets Hall of Fame? Solani
and
And Teppo Newman.
Newman.
yeah. It's kind of funny because like they technically aren't allowed to retire those numbers or whatever or however it works. I don't know. It's
They're
stupid.
not allowed to. They're honoring them. I think that's
The records.
Yeah.
The records are Coyotes records,
Yes.
not Winnipeg records.
So
even
they're
though
honoring the numbers. They're not like retiring them because they technically did never play. They
Never played
for
for
the
that
Atlanta
franchise.
Thrashers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
it should be native to your city.
I think they did retire Howard Chuck's 10, if I'm corrected, but that's another situation.
Yeah, that's
it might
a
have
little bit different.
They use different wording. Like if they honored his number, then it's technically not retired. for
Remember
team.
the Leafs did that for everyone until the 100 years thing. They
Yeah,
were
'cause
just
they had,
honoring
like,
the numbers.
500 people in the.
I mean,
rafters.
Montreal. It's like Montreal Canadiens and like the Boston Celtics. How there's like no numbers left to wear. They
Yeah.
just retire everyone. But
Well, the Leafs thing for a long time because they were named after the like the Army division or whatever. The
Yeah.
thing for a long time was like if you didn't die at war while you were a player, you didn't get your number retired, which like is really hard to do now. Like you can't go to war and also be an NHL player. But that was the thing for a long time. But then like in 2017, they're like, whatever.
yeah, just
Just
retire.
retire everything. Gilmore played for us for 4 years. Retire his number.
I mean, that's because he was like that good.
He was that good though. Yeah.
It's kind of
He got
sad.
retired. He got his number retired for getting high sticked and not having that called. So
No, he's actually sick that year. If you look at his stats, it's kind of stupid, but yeah.
Was that the year he had like 127 points or something?
Yeah.
And he wasn't even like top. Was he like the third in scoring?
He was. I would have to look back, but I don't even think he was top 5.
that whole season, like 92, 93 league wise, was stupid
Yeah.
because he had Solani with 76 setting the rookie scoring record. So that just kind of threw everything off whack
Yeah. 76
That's
goals
crazy.
as a rookie.
as a rookie.
That's
Well,
crazy.
he was like 23 years old. So
Yeah, he wasn't like a pure rookie.
he wasn't
but
like
still.
18. But
He was the Panarin. You got the Panarin.
yeah,
treatment.
he wasn't bunting it at all, but he was 23.
Yeah.
Speaking of high scoring affairs, the NHL 23 technical test over
Oh,
the
here we
past 2 weeks. I didn't play it that much. I wanted to play it more, but also I seemed disinterested after like I think I only played one like session with y'all because like number one I was moving, and number two was I didn't really I found 22 to be like better. Usually when I play in the beta, I like the improvements, but it was kind of nothing. I feel like the poke checking was a little bit too much in terms of slowing you down. I feel like I agree that this should slow you down because sometimes when you're back checking, you can just spam the poke check button and you'll get ahead of them and poke check them. But also, it feels like I'm skating out there like current Zdeno Chara. So I feel like it should be a little bit faster. I'm gonna let you guys discuss it though. Darius, how did you like the technical test, or how did you not like it?
I'm usually like, for as much as I like bash on EA and everything, which like more people should because we deserve better. As much as I bash it and I want more, like I like to be optimistic and I like playing the game, right? This beta, as much I didn't play it, or technical test, whatever. I didn't play it as much as I would have liked, just because responsibilities, and they put it during the last week of summer for some reason. Like, come on. Anyway, it was the first time since they started doing betas, since like they started when they were doing demos where you could just play now. The first time where I was like, all of these features don't add anything to the game. Like the last chance puck movements or whatever, I only saw them in practice mode when I was trying them out with you, Nick. That was the only time I saw them, and I played maybe like 20 games of threes or something like that. Maybe not even that much. Like I didn't see them. I don't even think I saw it once in game, which is great. That's awesome. The passing's fixed. Awesome. So you can actually make a pass now in a hockey game. Bare minimum. That's awesome. What else? Oh, and they're penalizing defensemen and goalies now, even more than they already were.
Exactly.
Like if you miss a poke check. So how many times in the NHL have you seen somebody miss a poke check, get burnt, but then they still get back? It happens. Or they lift the stick, they lift the stick. If you try to poke check now and you miss, like if you are not perfect,
the guy's already 3 feet ahead of you.
you're done. Like it's a goal, right? Like if you are not perfect with your poke check wherever you're doing it, you might as well not poke check because they're going to score. They're gone. Now, will they fix that a little bit when the game comes out? Maybe, but they always add like a tuner that makes the game worse. So I expect something to happen. But yeah, even the goaltending, like they're like, oh, we added new save animations. Yeah, new save animations where the puck goes off your blocker and in the net still. Like, what are you supposed to do? Anyway, there's just a lot left to be desired. They didn't change like the graphics at all. Not the game graphics. I mean, like the presentation.
The UI's the same. The HUD's the
everything.
same.
The menu. They even changed the menu last year from 21 to 22.
They kept. You know, every X Factor clips. It's all the same like clips and stuff. Like they didn't even change that around.
No, it's the exact same. So like, my question, and I'll end it, and Matt can talk. And I'm sure we'll get into it more as we go, like specifics and as we played. My question is, legitimately, I know everyone asks it every year. What did you do for 12 months? Because you added 2 new things and that's it. Like nothing else is different. So I like, what did they actually do for 12 months? Matt, what were your thoughts?
I'll tell you what they did for 12 months. They made goalie even worse. Like as a
human
goalie.
Oh my god! Matt got cooked that one game.
It is. Well, not just that one game. Every game, and I'm
can't stop
above.
Yeah,
I'm an above average goalie in 22, but in 23, it's like pulling teeth. And I think pulling teeth would be a much better experience than playing goalie in 23 because as soon as you square up to the shot, no matter what your stats are, if you boost it to high glove or high block, or even if it's at the highest stat you can set it to, the puck still goes in. No matter how much you square up to it, if you're screened or not, it's just terrible. Even on a breakaway too, you can follow them as much as you can follow the puck, but good luck. And every game, I think, ended with at least 20 combined goals. Whereas if it was just the 3 of us with the computer goalie, it was a much low-scoring affair. I think there was one game that ended 3-2. I don't know how that happened, but it ended 3-2.
We hopped on, just to make a quick point because it's on the top of my head. We hopped on as soon as we finished our last podcast to play the beta. And yeah, that's true. Because they were like to send you your code. Hey, play our beta so you can tell us how it is, but we're not going to send you the code to play it.
I didn't get my code till, we started recording at 2 when the code was supposed to be sent out. So we were like, okay, we'll put in the codes into our PlayStation so when we're done, they'll be ready, we can play. I didn't get my code till 11 p.m. that night. That's when they sent it to me.
Yeah,
so
like, come on.
I didn't even get to play. Because you guys played for like hours that first day. You know, like you guys played a lot.
We played like maybe, like 4 or 5 games or something like that.
Yeah.
3s.
And I didn't even get to play. We didn't even play 6s.
At all.
Yeah, that was criminal. Yeah. I wanted to play 6s.
Yeah, I wanted to try that out. But yeah, we like the first game ended, Matt, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, like 10-8 or something like that. And I was like,
I think that was the first game with human goalies because it was just
we played the first game with human goalies. I think that's what it was.
Was it? I thought it was just like you, Mikey, and I. Was it not?
I can't remember, but we
okay.
played.
I remember it being
super.
Together.
Yeah, it was like super high scoring, and I was like, all right, it's the first game of a technical test, whatever. The next game was like 11-7, and I'm like, is every game going to be like this? Like, can you make a save? And then even the games without human goalies is not, even with human goalies, like, it shouldn't be that high scoring. Like, that's ridiculous. But even with the thing I found early on is they said they fixed computer goalies, but clearly they didn't because they're a lot worse.
The one thing they added back, that was fixed, I remember when my friend downloaded, he texted me right, he was like, yo, Nick, the one-handed tuck is back. So I went on, and I did the one-handed tuck like 6 times in a row. So I just kept trying it and trying it. You know, remember in 19 and 20,
mm-hmm.
the one-handed tuck was just an instant goal.
That's what everyone did that on penalty shots.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah. On a certain angle, you could just come in and just do it.
Yeah.
So I was trying that, so that was working. The Dasu flip is a little bit harder to score. I mean, I can still score them decently well because that's all I did back in 22. I would just Dasu flip. But like one thing the goalies do now is they get their blocker up more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. From what I noticed when playing the beta, I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Kinda. I don't really like doing that to EA. Beta gameplay is always clunky, and it was clunky. That's just how it is. So the gameplay seems smooth in that sense, but to be honest, NHL gameplay inherently is good. Like, it's fine where it is. I don't really feel like they could improve it much more in terms of like how smooth it is, and stuff like that. Like it's fine. It's the little things that they just need to improve. Like as we say, it's like death by 1,000 cuts with EA, right? The game itself is probably inherently all right, but it's just little things like the ready up glitch when you change your position is still in the game. Like I remember I loaded up with you guys for the first time. I was excited to play, and then I had to change my position, and then I had to close the game and go back into it. I'm like, I don't really want to do that, so that's not that fun. I'm so the last chance stuff, like Darius said, it seemed like we only used it in practice mode, and like it feel like it didn't function the same in game, like the way I wanted it to. And like when we discovered about like the last chance passes and stuff, I felt like that would be very, very useful, like especially on the power play or something when you need to keep the puck in. It's about to get out. You can just jump over and try and keep it in.
It also didn't work when I tried it though. Like it worked in practice sometimes when I was spamming buttons. Yeah. But in a game when I would try it on the blue line or something or down low, it didn't work. So I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah, as stupid as it sounds, I think they tried to make it like a 1 in 10 chance of it happening, which, I shouldn't give them that, like Nick said, the benefit of the doubt, but it's kind of stupid. But you shouldn't really have RNG play into games like this. It's just stupid. But there was Gary said the passing, like they improved the passing a whole lot, the significant boost to the pass assist. Mm-hmm. So if there's somebody in the corner and they're trying to pass to somebody on the point that isn't on the boards, the pass actually goes to them. Whereas in 22, no matter how much they aim towards that player, it just goes back down the other end of the ice.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. We were trying in practice too. I was just messing around in practice and I called Nick online because I found that if you shot it from a certain angle low at the goalie's pads and you just spammed up, he would do the last chance puck movement and just slap it in, and it would go in every time. So I was like, this is sick. I'm going to use it in a game. Doesn't work in a game. So I was very confused by that. So like if your main additions this year are cross-platform,
that's not coming until November, by the way.
November. The last chance puck pickups, and new HUT features and what else? That's it, I think, right?
The mixed teams.
Yeah, mixed teams. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And that's it. If those are your new features, I didn't see any of that in the beta. So I was playing NHL 22 with slower poke checks.
0.5. Yeah, the slower poke checks. And you also can't hit.
But literally though, like
oh my god, you couldn't. I didn't even think about that.
I also found I couldn't hit people. Maybe it was my build, but I was using the same build as previous years, and I could not hit people at all. Forget the last chance shots. I couldn't even hit them to put them in the animation. So
exactly.
I don't know. I don't know about this game because especially at release, man. Like if I didn't play with you guys, I don't know if I'd buy it this year. Because I'm worried about the player base. Exactly. I'm worried about a lot of things. If I wasn't playing with you guys, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just think just put a bow on this conversation. I think one of their main things they talked about is how they spent. You asked what they did for 12 months. They're saying they added cross-platform matchmaking. That's what they're saying, right? No. I know.
They didn't though, and they said that.
I know. The thing, every podcast since I feel like we're beating the dead horse with EA. There's so much we could do because number one, there's nothing else to talk about. Number two is it seems like they never get anything fully right. We talked about it last episode, the half-ass crossplay, which isn't even full crossplay. It's not coming out till a month after release. They're saying this is the big thing they added. Among Us had crossplay like 3 years ago when I played it. Fortnite had crossplay when it came out. Fall Guys has crossplay. Call of Duty has crossplay. All these games have crossplay. All games that come out now have crossplay. So I just think that I think EA is just, they don't really, number one, they don't care because World of Chell makes them no money. Number two, the hockey bags are still in there, which is Jesus Christ.
At least you can open them all at the same time now. Not at the same time, but they're not. So not at the same time, but if you keep holding like the left stick, it'll just keep opening them instead of bringing you back to the last screen.
Okay. Well,
which
whatever.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
The bags are one of the worst loot systems I've ever seen in a video game ever.
Also, it's random. I've never seen a progression. What do you even call it? I've never seen progression in a video game where it's random like that. Never in my life. You could in any other video game, you'll get like skill points and you can use them to unlock whatever.
You know what'd be cool? You know what'd be cool? I was thinking about this. Imagine they did like in between playoffs. Okay, yeah. But imagine, we have like the Chell challenges.
Yeah.
And the loot bags. Imagine if they like combined it into one and made like a battle pass kind of thing. Where like, oh, if you score a hat trick, you level up to like level 2 in the battle pass and you unlock this or you unlock this. I feel like that would be a lot cooler if they did like a battle pass system because you can see what you're unlocking and you can aim for it. Yeah. In addition to that, they can also give you like Fortnite and going back to them because they do it perfectly. Like you can get V-Bucks and buy what you want from the store. Or you can use it to buy the next battle pass. Or you can scroll to the end and be like, okay, if I reach level 100, I can get this really cool thing, right? Or like, if you reach level 100, you get a really sick trait or something like that. If they had a progression system where I can see that I have to do this, this, and this, that makes me want to keep playing the game. Because the chill challenges fucking suck. I don't really care for them because if you only play one mode, you can only do 3 of them anyway. I'm not playing ones. I'm not playing drop-in. I'm not playing 3's arcade. So
I love how you're giving EA. I love how you're giving EA a reason to monetize World of Chill. It's like, I'll spend money if you make it better and make it easier. You guys like money.
I mean,
clearly.
Whatever. I think, other than that, I don't really have much to say about the technical test. I'm always excited for a new NHL game because I just like having a new, fresh game to play, even if it's the same thing, and I'll be bored of it by December. So that's cool, but whatever. Anything else you guys have to add?
Can I preference all of this by saying, like, I actually really enjoy NHL 22, and I enjoyed NHL 20. But this one, it's just like not enough. Yeah, like not enough at all. Like last year, they changed the whole engine. Like the game played differently, completely, and it's true. Like the board play, everything, it played. There was enough in the gameplay that I was like, this plays differently, and it plays closer to real hockey, which I like. They added 2 things this year. Like that's crazy to ask for $120 again. Also, if you play Hut, you're the problem.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap the show here. You know how we wrap the show? We ask one question to end it. This episode is gonna be: who do you think will have a bounce back season compared to their poor season last year? Whether that be due to injuries, just generally poor play. But yeah, Darius, who is your pick to bounce back?
Okay, so my pick to bounce back from a poor season into a good season. Would be from the Philadelphia Flyers, Carter Hart. I think his career started off pretty promising, and I think his first year he was pretty good. Can't remember exactly with the stats, but last year, obviously, as you know, the Flyers were bad, so he's bad. I don't know if it fell on his shoulders as much as it was just the Flyers being an awful team, but new head coach John Tortorella. Team's actually going to play some defense, as bad as their defense looks. I mean, their defense is weird, but anyway. Defensive style team, and they have really offensive players, but anyway. I think he'll bounce back. He had goals against average of .316, save percentage 905. I mean, he's a better goalie than that. Let's just hope the Flyers can help him out a little bit. So I'm going to go with Carter Hart.
Matt?
Also from the Philadelphia Flyers, I'm going to go with Sean Couturier. Last year, I think he only played 29 games and got 17 points. But again, I think he had back surgery in February. But like Gary said, new coach Tortorella, and Tortorella will love the way Couturier plays because he's the best defensive forward on the team. And if you're not American or play offense, Torts doesn't like that. But good thing Couturier plays defense. So he's going to love him. And I think with the absence of Giroux in Ottawa, he'll make the claim as the team's best forward, both offensively and defensively.
All right. So my pick to bounce back is going to be New Jersey Devils defenseman Dougie Hamilton. They handed him a massive contract from Carolina. Last year he dealt with a lot of injuries. He missed 20 games. Before that, 55 games and 56 games in the COVID year. That's not bad. Before that, though, he had 40 points in 47 games. So that's pretty good. I think New Jersey's going to be a lot better this year. All their younger guys, a year older, they're going to get better. Jack Hughes hopefully plays the full season. That'll help with Hamilton's point production. They added Andre Palat, who's just, a solid top 6 forward, going to get you 50, 60 points. Last year though, Dougie Hamilton wasn't as good in the power play. I believe just looking at here, he only had 8 points. So expect that to go up based on the weapons they have. But I think if he gets in 82 games, he'll have a really good season. So draft him in your fantasy leagues because I don't think people are going to be as high on him as they were last season.
Very nice.
Yeah. Other than that, we'll wrap it here. Follow us on the socials, TikTok. Follow our individual Twitters. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, 5 stars, subscribe, do all that stuff. If you like the show, obviously, don't be dishonest. We would never want that. Shout out to Matt. He bought the premium Zoom account. You know how it goes. Shout out to Darius for recording, editing, producing, all that good stuff. Shout out to me because I just post the TikToks and I host. Other than that, solid episode. We'll see you guys. It looks like the schedule is going to be, we're going to record them on Thursday. Hoping to have them up Thursday night or Friday. So we'll see how that goes. Just depends on Darius' schedule. He's kind of busy. So
I just don't want to edit it. How about that?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's fair.
I'm going to have to really bounce back after this recording to edit it. So
yeah, I wonder why. Anyway, y'all take it easy. Follow us on socials. Have a good day or night while listening to this. If you're listening to us in the car, drive safe. Take it easy. And, I just want to say before we get out, rest in peace to Queen Elizabeth II. Good friend of mine. We hung out a couple times back in the day. So yeah, it's cool. She's she was the last person alive to see the Leafs win a cup. She's kind of crazy. With that being said, y'all have a good one.
So the last person ever to see the Leafs win?
Yep, it's crazy.
Wow, that stat's gonna carry for a long time.
Like nobody currently alive has seen the Leafs win the cup except for her. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy.
she was actually at the game.
Yeah, like she saw them. She saw them do it. So
yeah, she presented them the cup.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Gritcast. For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.